Stay tuned for this review because this lane coat vapor stuff is delicious. What's up YouTube, welcome back to WackedOUT ECIG. Today we're doing a comparison review, as you saw in the title, the Sigelei75w versus the iPV D2 by Pioneer for You. They're both single 18650 box mods basically that have temp control and they go up to 75 watts. So without wasting any of your time, let's go down up close and look at them. Okay, so these are the two mods that we'll be comparing today. I was gonna take them out of the box and show you everything, but to be honest, I think you've seen the boxes for most things already. So I'm just gonna see how this goes without showing the boxes. Let me know in the comments if you wanted to see the box or if you just don't care. Either way, these are the two. I think you can get a pretty good size comparison here. The iPV D2 on the left here, the black one, is obviously smaller than this, but it's not that much smaller. They're both very small mods, but in general the IPV is just smaller. So let's look at the IPV D2, and we're gonna look at just the outside and general build of it. So up top you get your spring-loaded 510, which is nice. It's all rounded, fingerprint magnet for sure. You can see that. This compartment comes off like that. And then you get the battery inside, and it just comes out easily with this and pops right back in. It's pretty simple. I have noticed that with sliding this off the first couple times it can scratch up like here. That doesn't bother me because you're not looking at that unless you're taking in and out the battery, so it doesn't bother me, but that might bother you. So this just slides right back on there and it's not going anywhere. It was pretty loose at first, but I've seen other people do this. You just squeeze it a bit, the C-frame, and it just pops on and off and stays there pretty well. So these are the buttons. They are clicky, if you can hear that. All of them are pretty clicky, and that's basically the outside and build quality of the iPV D2. One thing to mention down here is that that's the charging port. It's completely different from a USB that you would normally see, the micro USB. That could be I consider that a con, considering that's not the standard, but that's something to know, and we'll talk about that more once we get out of the up close. So let's take a look at the build quality of the Sigelei75. Up here, spring-loaded 510. The battery doors come off like this. And actually both of them come off, and you just take out your battery by sliding it out and sliding it back in. What I tend to do is I put on one battery door when I'm putting the battery back in and just pop the battery right back. It's very simple. The battery doors slide on, there's no play, but they're very easy to come off as well. What I like about that is that if you get replacements, I mean, I've seen Sigelei come out with a copper version of it, but I know like Otis Designs, for example, want to come out with a stabilized wood back for it, which would be very nice. This is a bit of a fingerprint magnet. You can see that there a bit. That is something to note, but I really do like the brushed stainless steel look of this. Down here you get your micro USB charging, which is good because that's the standard. Almost every charger nowadays, besides from like iPhones or whatever, and obviously the iPV D2 are micro USB, so it's not going to be hard to find a charger for that. The buttons, very clicky as well, and I really enjoy using these buttons and the interface. So yeah, that's about it for the bodies and frames of these. Let's take a look at the screens. Now, the screen on the iPV D2 is slightly smaller than the Sigelei75, and it is completely different in the way it acts. So what you're going to do is you're going to have a menu. So 5 clicks to turn it to open the menu. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you get system off, click it again, you get joules, or you can switch it between joules and power mode. In the joule mode, you click it again, you can switch from Fahrenheit to Celsius, click it again, and you can change the temperature. Click it one more time, you choose your coil if you want nickel or if you want titanium, that's all that's available. So click it one more time, you get exit, and you exit, and you're back into the screen. So it is a menu system, and if you want to change the temperature that you're vaping at, you do have to go into that menu, find it and everything, so it does take a little bit more time, but it's not like it's difficult to do, it just takes a bit longer. So going down, this goes down to 10 joules in nickel and goes all the way up to where you just saw it in to 50 in joules, and it does go very quickly, no problems with that at all. We're going to go into the menu and we're going to go into titanium, and I haven't used this in titanium yet, but I do believe it does go down to 10 as well, and it does. So it doesn't round robin, you have to go all the way back up, but it goes very quickly, so that's not a problem for me. In power mode, this goes all the way down to 7 watts, and obviously it's going to go up to 75 watts. And again, this moves very quickly, I don't have any problems with how quickly it goes. I don't need memory settings or whatever because it just goes very quickly. So that's honestly about it for the screen. One problem I have had is that when I first had it, I saw system off, I clicked it 5 times and just left it, put it in my pocket, and then when I took it out, I realized that, oh, the screen stayed on system off, but when I clicked the button, it was going through the menu. I didn't really understand it, it was kind of ignorant of me, but then I realized you have system off all in capital letters. You press either the up or the down button, goes down to lowercase letters, and the system is off. You can't do anything. So as you can see on the Sigelei, it is a mirrored screen, but honestly I haven't had any problem seeing the screen, and I am in love with this screen. So turning it on, 5 clicks, very simple, Sigelei, and it's on, and that screen is just beautiful in my opinion. Everything is easy to see. The power will take it all the way down, and it doesn't move as fast, but it moves fast enough for me. 5 watts down, and again this is going to go up to 75 watts. So yes, it is taking longer, but like I said, it's not that bad. I don't worry about it really. And I don't vape this at 75 watts either, or at 5 watts, so you know, generally I'm going to be moving in between 20 and 40 watts maybe, so that's not a big deal for me. Obviously you get your battery life, ohms, voltage, and power. There's no menu on this compared to the IPV, it's just to navigate it, you're just going to need to know combinations of buttons. And some people may like that, some people may not. It really depends on your preference, but for me, I prefer this. It's very simple. The up button and the power button locks it instantly. You can't do anything. Press it again, unlocked. The down button and the fire button, once you have something on it, will throw a device on there and it'll read the resistance. The down button and the fire sets the resistance. That's for if you want temperature control. Obviously there's no temp control on this. Well, you wouldn't know that, but and yeah, if you want to switch to temp, it's just pressing both of these buttons. Switch it over to temp and you're in temperature. Now you can adjust your wattage in temperature. The same thing goes all the way down and all the way up. If you want to change your temperature, then you just press both of these once and it switches over. You can set it, and then when you're done everything, you just press the fire button again and it sets it. So I mean, it's a very, very simple system. It really depends on what you would prefer, either a menu system or the combinations, but you can see the two screens here. you can see that the Sigelei turns off you can see that the IPV turns off very quickly, and the Sigelei has stayed on for quite a while. So I actually prefer the screen staying on for a longer while, but that does eat up a slightly more battery life, so that's something to consider. So those are the two mods. We'll put the devices back on them. The Freemax Star, because I think that looks great with the black tank. The Goblin Mini on the Sigelei75. And we'll go back up, talk a little bit more, and vape on them both. So doing a comparison review is a lot harder than a regular review because you have to talk about double the stuff. So I'll see how quickly and efficiently I can get this done. Basically, I can't say that either of these are better than the other, but they both have different things that are slightly better than the other. So the main things I look at in mods are size, ease of use, and battery life, right? So let's start with size. Hands down goes to the IPV-D2. This thing is tiny. Yeah, it feels great in the hand, and with this silicone sleeve that I've added now, it's a lovely feeling ergonomical mod. The Sigelei75 also feels really good in the hand. It comes with a silicone sleeve as well, but it's just not as good quality, and it doesn't look as good with it on. So that's one of the things that I look out for. I mean, size and ergonomics goes to the IPV-D2. Ease of use. For me personally, I much prefer the Sigelei75. It has a nice looking screen with everything laid out a lot bigger than the IPV-D2. And there's no menu system, so everything you want to do is just, you press that combination of buttons or this combination of buttons. It's easy to learn and just quicker in general, I find. The menu system is not that bad though, and I'll show you how quickly I can do this. So I am going to put the Goblin Mini, which is not temp control. The Freemax Star is. So I'm going to put it on this IPV-D2. And first of all, look at the size of this setup. It's tiny. Going out on the go, this is perfect. It just slips in your pocket. It's a really nice looking stealthy mod. So right now this is in dual mode, and I'll show you how quickly it is for me now that I'm used to it to get into power mode. Done. It's very quick, and sorry, it remembers the last setting that you were in, which is very helpful. And it vapes phenomenally. Both of these vape really well. So let's compare that to how quick it takes for the Sigelei to switch from power mode to temp mode. Putting the Freemax Star on it. A little bigger, but it's still a very nice looking setup, and it feels good in the hand. So let's see how quickly it takes to get this into temp mode. Done. So they're both very quick. So ease of use, I don't know. Personally, I prefer the Sigelei for the way it looks, screen-wise, and the way that it functions. But if you prefer a menu system, IPV, if you prefer the combination, which is kind of the standard, yeah, the Sigelei is for you. So let's see, this is at 31 watts at 420 degrees. I'm going to bump this up. The thing about the Sigelei is that in temp control, it uses watts instead of joules, but I can go up to 75 watts on the Sigelei in temp control, where the IPV I can only go up to 50 joules. With that said, 75 watts on the Sigelei in temp control with this same Freemax Star doesn't feel as powerful as 50 joules on the IPV, so I don't know if that's a pro or not. So yeah, when it comes down to it, they're both really amazing mods. It really comes down to what you prefer. Battery life is the last thing. Now, they're both single 18650s, but I feel like the battery life lasts a bit longer on the IPV, just because The only difference I can point out that stands out is the fact that the screen stays on for a lot longer than the IPV. So I feel like that can drain the battery a bit more. But when you think about it, you can charge this much easier because it has micro USB. You can, anywhere you go pretty much, you can find a micro USB charger, and it doesn't matter if you're using a 1 amp or a 0.5 amp. This uses this shitty 5-volt charger. Now I say it's shitty, it does the job, it does charge, but you need to have a 1 amp wall adapter to charge it. You can't plug it into your computer because most of the time that's 0.5 amps and it's just not good for the mod. I'm not an electrician, I can't explain that, but that's what they tell me and that's what I've heard from other people. So yeah, I don't know, it's really up to you. Size, IPV. Ease of use, for me at least, Sigelei75. Battery life, IPV, but charging, Sigelei75. See, they're very equal. Another thing to note is the fact that these aren't the only options in this category, right? There's the ECIG VTC Mini, which I've heard amazing things from. It feels good in the hand, I've held it before, I haven't really vaped one before, and that comes as a full kit. You're getting a tank as well. So that's something that plays into it. And shout out to Ziggy, my friend in Lithuania. He has a VTC Mini, tells me about it, and he's been loving it. He really has been loving it. So I trust his word, and that's something to look out for. Also, the other one that I can think off the top of my head right now is the new iStick 60 watt. It has the same kind of battery door customization, but they actually come with separate ones, as far as I know, that you can change out. But it is slightly taller, I think, than both of these. So I don't know. I would like to see an amazing combination of all of them, but it might take some time for something like that to come out. For now, what I have in front of me is these two, and I can't say which one is better, but now you know at least which ones have better characteristics than the other in different categories. So one very important thing that I forgot to mention is the price of both of these things. So the Sigelei75w came from my good friends at Pacific Smoke. They're a distributor in Canada. They're not a retailer, so you can't buy directly from them, but that means that they are available in Canada. And if you're a vendor watching this and you would like to stock these, hit up Pacific Smoke. So I've seen both of these mods actually available in Canada for basically the same price, which is about 80 Canadian, okay? The IPV D2, I got this from GearBest in China, and this actually cost 43 US from GearBest, which works out to about 55 Canadian, so much better deal, but you're gonna have to wait a bit longer getting it from China. It's up to you what's more important. They also do have the Sigelei75w on GearBest, but it's actually more expensive than you'll find it in Canada. So if it was up to me, I would go for the IPV D2 from China and the Sigelei75w from Canada. So it's completely up to you, but I just wanted to mention that because yeah, the price is also very important to me. So thank you to Pacific Smoke for hooking me up with the Sigelei75, and thank you to GearBest for hooking me up with the IPV D2. Let's get back to the rest of the review. So, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again soon.